All right. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today, we're going to be diving into my news feed. Yesterday was great. It was so great that we were here for over 2 hours. And for those of you who might be wondering why the shift in time, I'll be going over it very quickly. So, because of being a parent, I need to spend time with the kids. So I decided that I needed to move the live stream back to the original slot of 11 a.m. Eastern. And it's something that I decided to do along with my wife because I do need to be sure that I am playing my role as husband and father. And so I decided that I will do that, even if it was going to risk the views on the channel, because this is very important. Everything that you build means nothing if you don't take care of your family. So I decided to move it back. So I apologize for to everyone if you were happy with the last slot of 4 p.m. Eastern. But we have to do what we have to do as parents. So let's dive into the stories. But first, let's take care of the sponsors. I am my own sponsor. So I am asking that you would consider patronizing the merch store. We have a bunch of drinkware that have the branding of Heaven's Economy. And I have told the story before that as someone who who trusts the Lord to meet my needs, I've been in prayer. And one of those times of prayer, I got this message up here, and I decided to put it on merchandise and share it with you. So if you're going through a financially testing time, it's great to have this in front of your eyes, reassuring you that God meets your needs. So please consider supporting us by visiting the merch store and getting one of these items. They're really cool, if I may say so myself. And then if you are up to it, please consider supporting us by donating to the channel. Yesterday we had a bit of a snafu with the feed, and it was embarrassing because everything kept glitching out, and I think it might be close to the time where I have to get something more powerful as a streaming system. So supporting us helps us to get better at serving you and doing better research, paying people to do the research and getting more accurate news out to you. All right, so thank you for being a part of this. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and let everyone know that there's some great news being shared here on the channel. Now, before we jump in, I need to just give me a second. There we go. Yep. So first off, there is some news about a ruling on the Portland ICE deployment, National Guard deployment. And let's listen to that from Fox News, because I want us to open up with some good news. So let's go.
Major win for President Trump after a federal appeals court rules the administration can deploy the National Guard in Portland, Oregon.
Rich Edson joins us live from the White House with the latest. Hey, Rich.
Hey, good morning, Ainsley, Lawrence, and Brian. Well, this ruling reverses a lower court ruling that had blocked the deployment to Oregon. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem writing in a statement, quote, "Another victory for President Trump and the safety and security of the American people. The law, U.S. Constitution, and Supremacy Clause back the president's action to protect the public and law enforcement, and today this ruling has vindicated us. The order cites periodic violence and protests at an ICE facility in Portland as justification for President Trump's decision to deploy the National Guard there. Attempts to burn down the building and breach the front doors, and protesters throwing rocks, sticks, and fireworks at federal officers. Local leaders in Oregon say police there have handled the protests and arrested those who've broken the law. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek says that, quote, Oregon remains united in the fight against this unwanted, unneeded military intervention in Oregon. We will
Unwanted and unneeded. Interesting. Have you seen your cities? Have you seen your cities? Okay. And when they step out and say these things, I was talking with some friends and I said, look, it takes a special degree of demonic possession to lie the way these politicians lie. Have you ever tried telling a lie to somebody close to you? You're trying to tell a lie to a friend or an acquaintance, and it might just be a little, what you would call a white lie. And the struggle to do that. Now, imagine standing in front of the cameras and talking to potentially millions of people, and you're lying about something that everyone can see, and you have a nice political smile on your face like she does. It's, in my opinion, it takes a special case of demonic possession. That's my opinion. All right. No, well, I'm just saying.
Continue to show up for our neighbors, make our voices heard, and use our collective power to protect communities.
Your neighbors, you mean the criminal illegals, huh?
Court fights ahead. Illinois officials have sued to stop the president's National Guard deployment to Chicago. Meanwhile, the president is touting new FBI statistics, writing, quote, since January 20th, more than 28,000 violent criminals have been arrested, record-breaking, with over 6,000
Look at these stats. And this is what blue cities, Democrat governors and mayors are protesting against. They want to keep these going. So let me couch that in a statement, okay? If all of this is true, if the FBI's statistics on all of these records are true, then the Democrat Party essentially is running interference for evil, if all this is true. And it concerns me when the reports that come out from other outlets, we're going to see some of these influencers and public figures and anchors insinuating that Donald Trump is violating the Constitution by enforcing federal law. It's that kind of narrative that they try to push. And when you look at the facts, you know that these guys are lying. And they're essentially, just like Caroline Levitt said last week, they are the party of illegal immigration and crime. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so what's going on? What's going on with these judges that are essentially releasing criminals back onto the street? Okay, so can you consider them to be judges? Now, I'm wondering if this is... Oh, come on. All right, guys, my tech decided to act up again. I don't know when it stopped working. Jeez. Okay, I'm going to go back and replay this. All right, I need to figure out why this is happening to us, okay? And then figure out how to fix it. Because the thing with live streaming is if you don't have a team behind you monitoring and watching everything, it's easy to miss stuff. So please bear with me. Once you see anything going on, please just let me know in the chat. I had to restructure my displays so that I could see the chat right in front of me. So I can tell when something is going on. And it would be great if you could help me out to just make sure that the audio is great. Yesterday there was some buzzing in the audio, and I didn't know about it, and it ran on for about 10 or 15 minutes. So, but I do appreciate those of you who stuck around and waited until I figured it out. Thank you so much. So, I'm going to have to keep looking, and it's going to be very distracting. So today might be an awkward live stream for me, because I'm going to have to keep looking at the audio bars and making sure that everything is working. So let's play this back.
Out. The president credited his FBI leadership with these new statistics. Back to you.
All right, so that's a victory. If it's temporary or permanent, we'll find out. But no movement in Chicago. All right, thanks, Rich.
So our U.S. Attorney,
All right,
Janine.
so we're going to cover this story in a different belt on the Janine Pirro statement. We're going to talk about that in a different segment. So let's look at this, okay? President Trump released a truth post this morning. And for a lot of people, the Middle East peace deal was never going to hold. And because of the unique nature of the Middle East, it was always clear to everyone. I knew it. A lot of other people on the conservative side knew it. But it doesn't take away from the fact that President Trump brokered a peace deal that had the backing of every other Arab state in the region. That was the beautiful part of the negotiations. It wasn't the United States standing in the middle of Israel and the Palestinians or Hamas, but the other Middle Eastern nations backed the peace deal and essentially strong-armed. I assume they strong-armed Hamas into accepting the peace deal. Now, there has been a resumption of hostilities. There are claims that Hamas tunneled into Israel, and that was a violation of the peace treaty, and Israel proceeded to do some bombing runs against Hamas. And of course, that means that the peace deal is in jeopardy. Now, President Trump posts this. Numerous of our now great allies in the Middle East and areas surrounding the Middle East have explicitly and strongly, with great enthusiasm, informed me that they would welcome the opportunity at my request to go into Gaza with a heavy force and straighten out Hamas if Hamas continue to act badly in violation of their agreement with us. The love and spirit for the Middle East has not been seen like this in 1,000 years. It is a beautiful thing to behold. I told these countries and Israel, not yet. There is still hope that Hamas will do what is right. But if they do not, an end to Hamas will be fast, furious, and brutal. I would like to thank all of those countries that called to help. Also, I would like to thank the great and powerful country of Indonesia and its wonderful leader for all the help they have shown and given to the Middle East and to the USA. To everyone, thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. Amazing. So, yes, the situation in the Middle East is still developing. And we need to keep an eye on what's going on over there in the Middle East. All right. Now, today we're going to be... All right, my screen has frozen again. Okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to quickly reset my displays. And I think there was something I changed here. So let me see if I can reset it. Today's live stream. All right, so let me know what you think in the chat. All right, let me know where you're watching from in the chat. Say hi while I try to straighten out my setup for this stream. It is frustrating, but well, it is what it is. So give me a moment. I'm going to do a quick recal. I think I'm just going to go back to my old setup And then hopefully that should help. One moment, please. All right, so all right, hopefully this would cure the insanity that's going on with my gear. All right. So that's the an update coming from the White House. The Middle Eastern countries want to have given them the thumbs up that they want to go into the Middle East. They're in support. So let's see how that works out. I know that there are people out there who have posted comments. I have comments in the comment section. Well, they don't want to give Trump any credit for the peace deal in the Middle East. People have such a violent case of TDS that it's undeniable that they just want the Middle East to burn because they hate Trump so much. Okay, and it's sad that people would actually feel that way, that they would literally prefer that the countries of the Middle East will do poorly, simply because it makes Trump look bad. And that is such an unfortunate position to have. If you're anyone decent in the world, if you're a decent person in the world, you would want the people of the world to live in peace. You would want the people who live in different parts of the world to have to experience peace and safety. Look at the kids that have to go through the trauma. The trauma of the last few years has been insane. But people just want to keep the conflict going as long as Trump isn't the one who brokers the peace deal. All right, so that is sad to watch. All right, so next item here: Chicago area judge rules ICE agents can be arrested at courthouses. So this is part of the insanity that we're still seeing out there. We're talking about federal judges and even district judges putting out roadblock upon roadblock, keeping federal law from being enforced in these blue cities. If you have people who think this way, all right, why should they remain judges at all? Why should they remain judges at all? Okay, let me know in the comment section, why should they remain judges at all? Because it makes no sense that a federal judge who is supposed to be upholding the law is essentially making it possible for criminals to continue to break the law. ICE agents can be arrested at courthouses when they go there to enforce the law. Now, this is where I think the narrative that is being pushed by mainstream media is problematic. Why does this matter now? Because they're targeting courthouses. Because mainstream media has been pushing for months that ICE has been ambushing illegal immigrants at courthouses when they go for their hearings, and they simply snatch them up right at the courthouse and remove them. Now, when you dig into these stories, now, is it possible that some of these were done poorly? Yes, it's very possible. It's very possible. There's no way that the enforcement of federal law is done 100% perfectly. But if you have a 98% execution of federal law, in the sense that it's done 98%, it's done properly 98% of the time, and then you emphasize that 2% of the time the federal agents get it wrong, is that the reason to block federal agents from carrying out the law. They've already refused to cooperate with ICE in holding these violent, criminal, illegal immigrants at the jails for ICE to pick up. They've made it impossible for them to safely remove these people and to deport them. Now ICE has to go into the communities, creating a complication. That complication is further exacerbated. That's a big word for being made worse. Is being made worse by the local population being turned against federal agents by the mayors and the governors, calling ICE the Gestapo, calling them the fascist, the enforcement arm of a fascist dictator. They are stirring up the local population to hate ICE. Now, President Trump has to send in the National Guard to protect the ICE agents because local police will not support ICE while they're carrying out federal law enforcement. When National Guard is deployed, a federal judge somewhere rises up to say, no go, you can't do that. Of course, we just heard in the last report that that has been smacked down, at least for the Portland area. These people continue to do this because they are trying to slow down President Trump's agenda. This is a duly elected president who is carrying out the campaign promises that he was voted in on. President Trump no longer has those rogue members of his cabinet and members of his team that are sabotaging his efforts. He's become wiser in his second term. Now the Democrat Party is mask off. They are simply impeding the enforcement of federal law, ensuring that none of these promises that President Trump made during the campaign are carried out. How is it possible that these people still hold their judgeships? How is it possible that these people can still be allowed to determine how federal law is enforced? It's one of the questions that bugs my mind. And of course, these are things that the American people do have to talk about. But do you know what? Because of the divisiveness that comes from the press, not from President Trump, the press is creating the division and then blaming President Trump for the division. It is the press that started out by labeling him as a racist, Nazi, as a criminal, as a crook, simply because his family built up $1 billion business. They don't come from old money. They come from new money. Basically, they had to work hard to build up what they have. And the elites, the real elites who pay for protests like the No Kings protest we saw this last weekend, most of them come from old money. Yeah, they do. And he doesn't play their game. He's not one of them. So they don't like him very much. They don't like him very much. And so they will make sure that at every turn, they make his life miserable. They make his presidency miserable. And the useful idiots who go out there and protest and say, no kings, we don't want kings. These are the people who make it possible for the insanity to continue. And these judges, I don't know how America is going to make it through this season. But you know what? Just keep your head up, keep praying, because like right now, it's very clear that there is, of course, there's always been a spiritual war over America. It's very clear that it is obvious to anyone who with two eyes who hasn't sold their soul, okay, I'll be honest, if you read your Bible, if you followed American history, if you've watched things over the last 40 years, you would know that something is very wrong with the way the Democrat Party is acting out. Okay, so we'll see how this pans out. We do have Mayor Brandon Johnson labeling some parts of Chicago in ice-free zones. His executive order. it is insane to watch, but then again, we'll keep watching. Does a mayor, I'm going to ask this, okay, for those of you in the comment section in the chat, does a mayor have the right to write up executive orders that restricts the execution of federal law in their city? Let me know in the comment section. If you can give me that answer, that would be amazing. A bit of news from sports. National Hockey League San Jose Sharks apologized for pro-ICE message during Hispanic Heritage Night. It is these kinds of stories that baffles me, because ICE is there to carry out law enforcement. Do you know the communities that are most affected by illegal immigration? It is the minority communities, because the immigration happens from third world countries who are mainly black and brown. And black and brown people blend in better when they go to communities that are majority black and brown, which are minority communities. The criminals within that illegal immigration experience go into those communities and make those communities even more dangerous. So trying to say that the enforcement of federal law to remove these criminal illegals from these communities is wrong, is racist on its face. These people need to be protected from the criminals who come in illegally. And so why are the San Jose Sharks apologizing for a pro-ICE message that keeps minorities safe? This is part of the insanity that I keep seeing. And I'm wondering, like, why is it hard for people to see that this is a good thing? Why? The reason why people who don't break the law are being caught up in the ICE raids is because of the Democrat leadership. That's why. It's not because of Trump. It's not because of Tom Homan. It's not because of Kristi Noem. It's the Democrat leadership who have refused to make it all about the criminal illegals that need to be removed. These are the people who have been engaging in SAs. You know what SA is? Abuse of minors. It is staggering to watch how they've bent over backwards to keep these criminal illegal immigrants out of the hands of ICE, pushing them back into the community to create optics that they can play against the Trump administration. These people are hateful and evil. Yeah, I'm going to call it that. You know, some people don't like when you mention these things, but I have to speak plainly. Think about it. This is what they did. Step one, push back criminal illegals back into the communities. Where would they go? Would they go to the majority white communities? Would they go to the wealthy parts of town? No, they go to the minority communities. They go to the poorer parts of town. That's where they go to terrorize the citizens of that location, both the actual American citizens and those who are there illegally or undocumented. That is evil. Protect these people at least from these terror gangs. They would not. They would rather push them back into the community to create a scenario that forces ICE into those communities. Then they begin to lie, saying that ICE is arresting American citizens who have been here, who were born here, or they're separating parents. They're creating a scenario for a narrative, or to be perpetrated by or propagated, spread by mainstream media. It is evil. Let's call it what it is. It is evil. Many times you read the news and you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But in these updates that we're seeing, especially around the immigration story, it is very clear what the Democrat Party is trying to do. And you can see the trajectory. You can see the trajectory. All right. This is an awkward live stream. I am so distracted by the by the performance. The performance of my I don't think it's my hardware. I think it's just the fact that I changed something and it's affected everything. So I have two options. One is to end this live stream and start again. The other option would be to the other option would be to keep going. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to end this live stream. I'm just going to quickly make adjustments and then I'll resume the live, because there are a lot of stories to go through. So I'm going to just make some adjustments and then come back online. Okay. All right.